platter where the LP sits on. This is pressed. Normally the really good ones are cast aluminium and solid, heavy, massive ones. Okay. And this is a direct drive turntable. The motor is underneath. Motor turns, platter, it's all controlled. Oh, yeah, okay. This is belt. You have direct drive and idlers were there and now they're coming back in a big way. That is, idler is the motor drives the step pulley. The idler, to adjust the speed, the idler goes to different steps and the idler turns either the rim or like Lenco does the platter directly. There is pros and cons of every type. So you have to listen, but no big deal. What you like is what is the best. So you don't have to say the idler is the way to go or direct drive is the way to go. That's just internet hype. In those days, everything was nobody knew what was good. Everything was good if you liked it. So this is a tone arm. Actually, that is very crucial to the thing. If it's not right, the bearings are sticky. Yeah. Straight up. We'll come to this last. There's a whole snake oil about this also. Okay, the tone arm is very critical to the design. You cannot. Okay, suppose you have a suspended turntable like a Lin or a Thorens, the older ones. You cannot use an extra heavy arm because depending on the spring calculation, they've calculated the springs for a certain weight. So if you put, you have a heavy fidelity research tone arm putting on a Lin, it disbalances. So it's not going to work. Or you put too light a tone arm, then you adjust the springs again. So you get into another set of problems all over again. Stay with 90% what the manufacturers say are good, but people like me don't like that. So we try to improve on what the guy does, make a mess, come back, and then again go back and try and sort out all that. Okay, this tone arm is a 9-inch tone arm. You have different lengths. The 12-inch actually came out for the 16-inch transcription record. Yeah, 12-inch distorts less because the tracing error is. Actually, what he said is the records are cut at a tangential 90 degrees, but if you have that, this is not at a tangent. So what you do is you have to align the alignment gauge. This is a basic alignment gauge. To get the stylus to come as close to that 90 degrees which it was cut at, you use an alignment gauge. It varies for different arms, different settings, different cartridges sometimes. And cartridges come in different weights, so you have to. This is a detachable head shell. Most in the good old days they used to come detachable. It made it easy. Now they say rigidity is the best way to go, so you have fixed head shell, and then you have that becomes a pain trying to change cartridges. As you grow older, your eyesight fails, and then you're looking at a big repair all the time. Setting up a tone arm is not as difficult, complicated, or arcane, black magic book. You have to level, first the turntable will be level, fix the cartridge, balance the arm with the tracking weight set at 0 so that the arm floats. It doesn't go up this way or that. Then you dial in the tracking slightly higher than the recommended. Suppose the tracking weight for a cartridge is say 1.5 to 2. Dial it to 2. That is my generally keep it the higher end of the recommended gauge and then play back. If it sounds off, try and reduce it. Lighter tracking weights distort, mistrack, and your groove damages more. Always try to avoid mistracking. Heavier weights don't damage the groove. Contrary to normal thinking, heavier tracking weight does not damage because the Autophone tracks at 3 grams. Your groove is perfect. But if you put a lighter weight and if there is mistracking, your groove gets damaged. Anything else about setting it up?
Anti-skate?
Anti-skate Because what happens is when the tone arm goes in, when it's playing, the tendency, because the thing is for it to go inward. So the inner groove, what actually happens is, the groove is cut in V, so left and right. When it comes inward, you try to get a different signal, signal doesn't balance out. So you have something called an anti-skating. Sometimes it's mechanical with a string and this one, otherwise it's spring loaded. To get an equal so that the pressure on the groove walls is equal. So you align it so that the pressure is equal and the signal levels are equal.
The tone arm setting and anti-skating.
I'll come to that. Anti-skating also people. Normal recommendation if you track at 2 grams, set anti-skate at 2. There's no hard and fast rule in this. Check by ear. The Lin which I use now, they said I track at about 1.8. Normally the anti-skating as per the book will say 1.8, but my anti-skate is set at 1.4. It sounds better that way. So there is nothing set in stone in this. After getting all the gauges alignment set, you can set it by ear, and that will be your reference for yourself. So you don't have to say the book said this, or X and Y said this, or this reviewer said this is what. It doesn't matter. If it sounds good to you, that way, that's perfect.
That's also because cartridges are made by hand a lot of times, so you have a lot of variations in coils in the way the stylus is stuck onto the cantilever and things like that. So your ear is the only, that is the...
Fine, you use the recommended, recommended set of things, use that as the base, and then start tuning by ear.
But my own suggestion is, you must make sure that the protractor is used for aligning. If you play just because there's a stylus and play it on a record, it will damage.
It will damage the record.
You must align first and then play. A lot of us just connect one stylus and start playing, produce a sound.
It produces sound, but it's distorted because what happens is this has to be always aligned. Suppose the cartridge is too far in front. The groove, the needle doesn't trace the groove perfectly. The alignment angle is different. So one channel will sound this one and one channel will be sounding distorted. When that happens, the groove gets damaged. And there is no going by, you have to buy new LP, that's it. It's not like CD.
Groove gets gouged
at the wrong angle. So that's the real... And
is it necessary to get the arm absolutely horizontal?
No, that's a point, good point. There is, like I told you, there is no hard and fast rule. For some people, the thing is to get it parallel. But Rega has a different, they don't have an adjustment for their tone arms.
Right.
So, but Rega feels that that doesn't make as much of a difference to the sound. But some guys have spaces to adjust that. It depends on the man, my Lin arm is perfect. If I put it down or high, there's a difference in sound. I like it to be level. But some arms, some cartridges like angle which is pointed down, some like a little up. So you have to experiment. Get to the level suggested by the manufacturer and then play around with a little bit.
Yeah, most turntables do not have the adjustment for increasing.
See, this doesn't have because it's fixed edge. Rega doesn't provide adjustment at all. But now I think they're starting with
those turntables which don't have the adjustment, they are probably also fixed on the cartridge type.
Cartridge type.
Because then that manufacturer's recommendation works well. If you try something like a big cartridge, then it will change.
Because cartridges sizes vary also. Some have a bigger body, some have a shorter body. So you have to, that will only work if you buy a package where you buy a turntable, a tone arm, so then you will have those. But Rega expected their arm to be used with Rega turntable, so, and their cartridges. But you can put shims, they got aftermarket workarounds for all that. So that.
So, coming to the next question, see, if I am not able to get it absolutely horizontal, is it kind of better to have it pointing down or pointing
No,
up?
that depends. Sometimes pointing down will sound terrible, sometimes pointing up might be good. If you can't get it horizontal, you can put shims. There's nothing which says you can't put a shim and lift the level up.
Going down is different.
Going down is, I don't think is very good. It can be up a little bit. But try it. Sometimes you never know a cartridge profile between
Okay,
But it can damage the record, right? If the weight is more.
If the weight, no. If the weight is, well, you can track at 4 grams, nothing will happen to the groove. But if you track at less weight and it skips the groove, that's when your walls get damaged.
So will I come to know that right now the record is getting damaged?
No.
Or it's silently just...
You won't, you play it once and the next time you play on a different turntable, if the groove is damaged, you'll know it's damaged. You will hear the pop, crackle, one channel will keep going off.
You mentioned the need for a mirror to check the angle of.
That's the stylus angle. When you look at front, it has to be at 90 degrees to the groove. See, in this head shell, sometimes it's possible that the head shell might be off key or this one. So that's
Is that-
most.
So if I look at it from the side, instead of the dead ahead position, will it also be vertical?
No, you look from the front, head on, straight. We put it on the groove. Just come, you can come here. You can
If you look at it from the side, it will be at a 20-degree angle.
So if you come here, you look head on. The stylus has to sit at 90 degrees. See, sometimes the body of the cartridge will be off key, everything, but you're worried only about the stylus sitting on the groove.
The front one, Rajesh, is azimuth.
Yeah.
The side one, if you look at it from the side, it will be like this,
Yes.
at an angle, 20, because that's how the cutter head cuts it, 20 to 20 degree angle. So that's a different measurement. That's VTA, which is, like Rajesh said, lowering the tone
Tone
out
at
back
the
or
back.
level. That will affect this angle. So if
But
it's
you
low-
can't have excessive up and down. There'll be a slight variation. At one point, it will sound great. You move it a fraction of a millimeter and everything goes haywire. You start again from back to normal. Come back and again start working around. You have what turntable do you use?
I have a very basic Denon.
There's nothing basic about Denons. Denons are good.
It's actually a quartz control. It's actually a decent.
They're good. But it comes with a fixed arm, so you don't have, it doesn't have much of a variation.
In fact, the articulated the replacement cartridge also.
They would have mentioned you can use these.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
What are some good old turntables that you can still buy in mod?
we could buy reasonable turntables till a few years ago. Good turntables for a few thousands. Today, like the Times of India article, they just said all garage are 60,000 bucks.
there's an article.
It's a nice big article on the second page. But then articles like that to give a misconstrued. I see people trying to sell turntables for 60,000 bucks for a Lenco is, for me, it's shocking because I picked up stuff for a few thousands and somebody selling 60. Wow, that's a lot of money today.
You can get Technics SL 1700 is 1200.
SL 1700 you should, I don't know, 5,000, 6,000 should be okay, but people are quoting 20 for that. So it's like, guy like me, it's shocking. I would not never spend that kind of money on SL 1700.
Yeah, but
Used one.
it's probably more prevalent in places like Chennai and Mumbai. Places where there's some film industry, music, that kind of stuff. There you get the older Technics units.
No, old techniques are good. Old techniques are good, but the new Torrents I saw the last time we came, pretty expensive but good. But that was what, priced with 40, 60,000, yeah. That's 60K. But if you look around, you get a TD150 for say a few thousands. I don't know, to my opinion, might sound better than that new one. TD160, it's a good turntable to look. You don't have to get fixed on the Torrents alone. There were quite a few turntables, Aristons, there was something called a Dunlop system deck actually.
Dual.
The duals are very good. I don't know why they're overlooked. A lot of people just don't even look at the old 1229. It's a fantastic idler drive.
1019, 1229.
They're very good idler drives, comparable to say your Technics in sound.
But mechanical parts, I think, are pretty hard to find for the duals. You may have to machine
No,
them.
Actually, you get more.
these days you're lucky when, like Anil says, when we started, we used to write a letter, wait for a month for a reply to come back, and then he will send you, then you send the money across. It was a headache.
Sure, the number of duals that were sold in the market, so
yes.
many, you will get discarded duals which are used as spares. You get a lot more.
The duals are very good. The old idler drives, the 701, 721 Anil has, you should feel the build quality is amazing. But if you want to build a turntable like that, they will sell it $5,000 today. Something like that. It's an incredible mechanic. And the arm is a lot of people say the dual arms are actually very bad. The UL arms are very good. If you put a V15 Type 3
Oh, yeah.
or a 80 440, they work. But you can't put a Denon 103 in that and say, oh, it doesn't sound great.
Because they were lightweight.
Yeah, it's lightweight arms designed for lightweight cartridge. But getting into vinyl is today very expensive, but I would suggest you try it. It's an alternative to CD. I won't say CD is bad or digital is bad. Both have their pluses
Yeah.
and this thing. I listen to both.
I listen to that.
So I have no problem. I listen to both. But my preference is vinyl. So
Most people listen to both.
if I get the, luckily we grew up at a time when we could buy them at $50 each. Today the same LP is a few thousands.
Another advice is don't loan your
LPs
to
ever.
anybody.
Yeah.
Never. Lend your CD. If it doesn't come back, it doesn't matter. LP goes.
Not just that, it will get damaged.
Damage.
Do
Yeah, you don't know what
damage
he's playing. If you don't want the LPs, then lend it.
You damage it yourself, you are happy.
Somebody does damage it, you try.
Yeah. Do it yourself, but don't let anybody else do it.
And like I was talking to my daughter the other day, and she's in Germany now. She says, she's coming in August. I said, can you get me some LPs? She goes to the flea market. For 5 marks, you get about 10. So I said, no, I gave her a list. She said, why do you always ask for the expensive ones? Every LP you ask is 10 marks each. So, 10 euro each. I said, no, you said flea market, 5 euro for 10. I gave you a list. No.
Those are the brand ones.
These are the ones I want, the jazz and the rare ones. But you get all the regular rock and mass-produced CBS pressings. They're 10 euros. That's inexpensive. So you can. Somebody listens to Iron Maiden is cheap. That's what she told me. I said, you listen to Iron Maiden for okay, there must be guys who listen to it. But
I wouldn't mind some LPs.
Iron Maiden, she's coming in
Iron
August.
Maiden.
She says, she knows I don't listen that time. She says, you want Iron Maiden? There's a whole box for 10, 15 euro or something. I said, I'm joking. I never. But all the jazz LPs are very expensive.
Me and Steve will share.
Yeah. But the jazz LPs are very expensive in Germany, she says. Jazz and some of the blues LPs. Very strange.
Are there new releases now coming out in vinyl also?
Yes. Regularly.
It's all back fully.
But $30 is the average price
30,
for an
70,
LP.
60.
are making a wave everywhere in the world right now, actually.
You know, today's article is very interesting actually. If you look at it, they say it's bucking the trend of music retail, and LP is the only one which is growing. CD is declining, everything is declining, but LP is the one which is growing. Okay, it's minuscule compared to the whole. You can't download.
You can copy.
You can copy onto a tape.
Get the same replacement.
Yeah, but it's minuscule growth, but still that's the only one which is going on. Quite a few analog. I subscribe to that Analog Productions newsletter. Every week I'm getting new release, but expensive. And he gives a discount. The discount is not worth talking about. He says, oh, you're a subscriber, you get 20% off. $30, 20% is then shipping. That's the killer. If somebody can get them in India, great.
Beware of vinyl stuff made out of CD recordings.
And even the new recordings which are coming.
Yeah.
Digital
master.
yeah.
No, these Analog Productions and these specialist guys, they go back to the original masters. They make, that's why
The
they're
tapes.
expensive.
The tapes.
Tapes.
New releases.
New releases, most are digital, unless it's somebody goes to Water Lily or then their record is $50. So that's straight away looking at a different.
There's an
But-
online site called Elusive Disc.
Yes, they're very good.
Yeah,
I bought from them. They're good.
Site to buy.
They're good. Music Direct is also
There
very
were
good.
many.
Music Direct is good.
How's the audio quality on Indian LPs?
I have not heard the new ones, but I've got a lot from the 70s. I've got the Belafonte Carnegie Hall record. In the 70s, they had to meet a specification which was as good as the American. So the LPs I have are 180 gram in those days.
Yeah. So most of the HMVs were.
HM is all 180 gram. Because Santosh saw my Carnegie Hall, he said, this is original. I said, no, this is Indian pressing. I have the original also, the mono one. But the Indian one is as good.
No, I'm not talking about Western music.
Okay.
I know that LPs from 70s are actually, some of the pressings get discussed worldwide.
Worldwide, yes,
because
they're very good.
I'm talking about like the old Indian stuff.
Film,
Bollywood,
Bollywood, Hindustani.
Polydor records, in my experience, have been pressed badly. Whatever Polydor, HMV did a great job. I don't know for what the new I've not bought a new Hindi music LP for a while.
Not the new stuff.
Not
I'm
this
still talking about the old stuff only.
The old stuff,
Before
Polydor.
80s music.
Yeah.
Let's say.
Okay. As a general thing, I found those Polydor LPs. They were cheap, plastic, thin. The recording quality was not good. HMV was very good. HMV was very, very good till the end. Then when CBS came in, they came in ultra thin. Yeah, they have a Billy Joel 52nd Street. When you do this, it starts to flap around. So vinyl quality, after 80, once CD came in, vinyl quality just went downhill. Till about the 70s, it was very good.
Right now the Hindi music is basically CDs or MP3s. I mean, I have to go to my worst system to be able to actually listen to that material.
Actually,
It's that
MP3
bad.
is listenable, you know. I don't know why people say it's not unlistenable. I listen to some of those rips, they're okay.
It's not the MP3, it's actually the content that is so shady. It's like the recording, the mastering.
I think they master it very badly.
Okay. No, I was speaking to an old sound engineer. He used to record in AVM studios. He was the guy when they set up the studio. So he's now he's in the 70s. He says, sir, today what are you talking about? They hit the compress button and send all the readings up. Where is the recording? Nobody balances it. He was recording when movie soundtracks were recorded with a full orchestra. So you don't have some guy playing an electronic synthesizer and then recording. You would have everybody, about 60 people sitting in a room and they would record. Isolated and the singers separately. He says today what they do, they hit a limiter button and send everything up and then somebody else remasters it at the next stage. Recording quality is very dependent.
The other factor is a lot of studio equipment came in India in the 70s, probably up to the early 80s with vacuum tube.
Yes,
they
I know.
hadn't switched over to op-amp solid state chains till much later. So some of the early HMV stuff is very good.
Very good. And some of it found its way to eBay recently. Michael cleaned out some mics. RCA, you know the RCA tube valve mic? He made a killing. I think $4,000 he got. It's called it's shaped like a funny bubble or something. They had incredible equipment in the studios. The tube equipment. I saw a studio with Macintosh, the one 275 which they released now. They had the monoblock version of it called MC60s. A full rack of them for a recording studio. Incredible. AVM had them. And they had the Altec 604s and the